I won't be meeting my reading goal this year. It's just plain and simple. And I'm not even that upset by it because I feel like I have grown as a reader and I am not the same reader I was a year ago when I set that goal. And so that made me think about what is it about goals? Are you the person that likes to set a goal to read so many books a year, or is that something that you find is unnecessary? And so I did just a little bit of research this past week just to see what are some of the thoughts that are up in research about setting reading goals or not setting reading goals. And here are some things that I have found. And before I get into all of this, I do want to say I did make a companion article over on my Substack. You can find the link of it in the description of this video. Now, there's a lot of reasons why some people will create a goal, and I've got just a few of them. And let me know if you can relate to any of these. Okay, so the first one is a lot of people will create a goal because they want to build a steady reading habit. Having a goal of reading 30 minutes every single day is a great way to meet some of your reading goals. Having the goal of just reading 30 minutes a day is also a great thing as well. Another reason why people will set a reading goal is because that they want to have a goal to try and learn new things or a new skill, and it's most likely something that they wouldn't normally have picked up. Well, for me, I can kind of see that because for myself, I have made the goal of trying to read more history of other countries and cultures. And so I am reading a lot more of English history, French history, South American history, Caribbean history. I like to jump into Chinese history, Japanese history. There's a lot of cultures that in 2026 I want to get to. And so that's kind of like my reading goal. That's what I want to do. And so I can see why people will have a goal for reading different books like that. Now, another reason that people will create goals is just because they're the type of people that need to have a progress monitor. They like to check off that they've read, so many books, and that's just their personality, which is fine because some people are just like that. And finally, some people like to create goals because they want to manage their time in a much more intentional way. And as long as you've got that reading goal in the forefront of your thought, that you will try and prioritize reading to meet that goal. So those are some of the reasons that I have found that a lot of people will set goals. Again, do you relate to any of those? Because I do. I relate to a few of those. And so now let's talk about the flip side of that. Why do people not create a reading goal? The first reason I think that a lot of people don't create reading goals is because they're afraid that if they focus on a reading goal, then they're going to take the fun out of reading, which I can completely understand because you want to have fun reading. It's a great hobby. It is a great habit to get into. And some people will think if they've got this goal over their head, that is going to take the fun away. Now, this next one is one I can totally relate to, and it is having a schedule that is just so unpredictable that having a reading goal is just unnecessary. And I can get that because while my kids were growing up, having that extra spare time to read, sometimes it would take me weeks and weeks to get through a book. And I didn't read that many books while my kids were growing up because they occupied my time, which, they should. So I completely understand why, if you're just, your schedule and your life are just so busy, that having a reading goal just doesn't make any sense. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that's going to connect with this one, and that is people don't make reading goals because they are too much of a mood reader. And I know who you are. There's a lot of us out there. I can be a mood reader often. I can jump from book to book. Even though I read a lot of nonfiction, I can still read, get into topics just on a whim. And so some people who are that mood reader, maybe they don't want to have a goal because they are just bouncing around from book to book, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense They just don't want. They'd rather learn about the stuff that they're reading and not worry about a goal. And finally, some people don't make a goal because they're afraid that they're going to rush through the books in order just to meet an arbitrary number that they have chosen at the beginning of the year. So if this time of year and you're like 10 books behind, you're going to try and fly through as many books as possible. There's people out there who are like, whoa, man, that's not cool. I want to slow down and enjoy the books. And so that's why a lot of people won't create a goal at all, because they want to focus on the books, not the goal itself. I don't know if I'm going to create a goal this year, like a number of a particular how many books I want to read. I think I'm going to choose more of a reading goal that's going to help me grow as a reader. And some of those things, I'm still mulling around in my head, but some of those things are, I want to begin journaling about my books. I've seen a lot of people on here, and a lot of my mutuals and friends are, they talk about how beneficial it is that they journal about the books they read, and it's helping them grow as a reader. I think I'm going to jump into that. I want to get back into annotating my books. I did that a lot when I was in college. I wrote all over them. I felt like I could never sell my books back because I wrote so much in them. I want to get back into doing that. And finally, I want to slow down. I want to slow down and enjoy the books. I don't want to have to be on pace to meet an arbitrary number that I'm going to choose now. And in 2026, I'm going to be like, damn, this was really hard to meet. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to focus on what is going to make me a better reader, what's going to help me grow as a reader. And if you can relate to that, let me know down in the comments, because I feel like this is a fantastic time to get into books, and not only get into books, but talking about books. And I want to know if that is the track that you're going to do in 2026.